Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And just a quick disclaimer, I'm still not 100% healthy, still battling a bit here, so bear with me through this video. But I am a bit better, so I'm going to try to get this content out there. There's lots of content that I got to catch up on, so make sure you guys stay tuned. So this article comes to you guys from Phone Arena. Some articles are starting to drop on the on T-Mobile, making the official offer, if you will, to the FCC that they're willing to give up spectrum in Hawaii. And some are starting to consider that as a shocking offer. Like, hey, this is a shocking offer. Some emailed me, messaged me saying that they weren't expecting T-Mobile to make that move. But after talking to a few people, let me explain why this is happening and the way that it is happening. So T-Mobile has been, as you see in this title, waiting for the spectrum since 2022, which they were okay with because they still had to deploy 2.5 radios. It was baked into the capital for 22 and 23. So they had no problem with waiting a little bit because they still needed to scale the radios anyway. But now the radios are scaled. They hit 300 million pops. Now they just want the spectrum. But there's two things, well, really just one thing that they want to avoid from happening. They clearly saw and got the message and the memo that the FCC was running an investigation on the Auction 108 spectrum that T-Mobile was receiving. T-Mobile saw that clear as day. So two things that T-Mobile is trying to avoid with this offer. One, they don't want to leave the FCC having to make a choice for them, so to speak. So they don't want the FCC to release their findings and then potentially wanting more spectrum in more areas from T-Mobile. That's one thing that T-Mobile is trying to avoid by making the first move. Second thing T-Mobile is trying to avoid, they don't want the 90-day period to lapse that the FCC has to grant that spectrum. The middle of March hits and it's not granted. That's a wrap. We're back to square one. So those are the two things that T-Mobile wants to avoid by making this move. T-Mobile knows that they have a solid amount of spectrum in Hawaii. Verizon and AT&T could not bid on any mid-band in that region. None. No CBRS, no DoD, no C-band, no nothing. So giving up 20 megahertz would level the playing field a little bit here and there. And it would, this move would potentially give the FCC reason to speed up the investigation and to grant that license. So that's what T-Mobile is trying to achieve. They're not doing this out of the kindness of their heart. Trust me. They want to knock out those two reasons that I mentioned. They don't want the FCC to lay out their findings on the investigation, and they don't want the 90-day period to lapse. So that's what they're looking at. Once that 90 days expires, it's a wrap. We're back to square one. They'll have to pass another thing, and then we might not even get Auction 108 in 2024. So now the ball is really in the FCC's court. It was already in their court. They needed to approve it. They took some complaints a bit more serious. They started an investigation this late in the cycle. They should have started this in January. But now, here we are. Now it's really in the FCC's court. Now, it was in the FCC's court by just granting the license, but now T-Mobile dropped an additional offer into the mix, which I'm sure the FCC has already received it. They'll probably look at that today, tomorrow, whenever, and make their decision based on that. But I truly think that this should solve most of the problems that the FCC may have, and it should show that T-Mobile is operating in good faith, and this should be approved, I hope, very soon, so we can get this done with and over with and move on to the next thing. So make sure you guys stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe, follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.